Welcome to Radio Amenti, embracing the eternal now where minds and timelines merge, inspiring synchronicity, awakening potential, and making sense of change. (2019-2020). The call of this time period is the time of growth in the form of a new earth taking shape. The new earth will go through growing pains, but it is only temporary and will subside in the year of the darkness. There is nothing to fear. There is nothing to be done that can stop this. All you can do is to be good to yourself and be good to your fellow man. This is all that is required. The specific details will not be revealed, but you must know that your role is to be the light in the dark and to be the call of love to all during a time of fear. This is all you need to do. Nothing more than to be love and to give love to those who feel afraid. This is all you need to do. This is the call to answer now, but especially in the future too. This is all we are allowed to say, but do not fear. It is only a new beginning, not an end. Right now, the earth is to go through a period of darkness. This is not to fear. This is a time of prophecy being built to complete. This is the fond ideal to take, not that of fear. The feeding of the fear is the feeding of the ego, and the feeding of the ego is the dent in time of why all is the way it is right now. It is the time for the earth to correct itself. The earth is the bed of the all that is. And the bed is the bed of the called souls to awaken from their slumber. This bed is the place for the souls to find their true nature before moving on to the next plane. This planet is the name of Gaia to the ascended ones, and they view her as the mother of the universe. This planet is the nursery for the childish souls still needing to grow up. This is the founding room of the called souls to find themselves first, then again to complete their roles here. The balloon of the place in between the worlds is the elevator of heaven. The elevator of heaven is not the final destiny, but the place in between planes that houses the souls looking for new experiences that will develop them further in their line of DNA. The DNA in your skin is the being of Godness in your time and this time here. The DNA contains the answers to the past and the riddles of the future. The all that is the being of the made itering of DNA to form molecular structure. The Akasha and the DNA is the ballad of God. It is the magnum opus that sings the song of the human experience. The DNA is the fondness that is the chemistry of God's craftsmanship as the architect in the land of the all that is. The land of God is the universe of the all and the all that is. The universe is the breath of God, is the air it breathes, is the air that cannot be breathed by anyone else. It is the air of the universe that is not air at all. It is the fabric of time woven into space. The fabric of space and time will never be fully comprehended, even with data. But all of this is the awe to hone in on. The all of the all is that the all is the ballad of a masterpiece. That there is not the oneness without dark. That there is not the oneness without light. All is together in the symphony of the stars. The symphony of the stars is the symphony of God's work. The ballad of the stars is the fine music you will hear when you have become your best single self in the goodness to Godness. The fond itering of personality that is true to your truth in the life that you chose here. The life that you chose here now is the life of the person of the past life that was most significant to your soul key. The soul key is to be able to walk through this time of life without fear and to be able to feel good always. This cannot be stressed enough. It is imperative to your time here to be feeling good always. This is how you will attract the best experiences. This is how you are going to uncover who you really are. And this is the donation of your time here to being in this tide of goodness always. The good tidings you bring are the goodness you bring to all you encounter, even those you are not fond of. You must forgive them in order to forgive yourself. You must forgive yourself in order to forgive them. You need to not feel bad to others. even the others that have been bad to you. Look at all as teachers to let you see the way of how to be the best version of yourself without taking on their qualities that are unpleasant. This is the key, that you must see all as teachers. They are all the all too. You're all on different journeys here. What you just heard there is something that I share with trepidation, something that I share with apprehension, something that I share at the risk of judgment. But I don't care. What you just heard came through in a channeling that I did in the summer of 2014. I would go into trance and my ex-partner would be my scribe. I would work with questions, asking these questions in trance and receiving answers that at times were not answers at all. They were more riddles. Riddles to unpack and to contemplate and to sit with. Riddles that caused me to question my own sanity at times. Well, am I really channeling something? Is something puppeting me to further its own agenda? Why am I receiving this now? Am I actively creating a timeline with my thoughts being dented with these ideas that in 2019 and 2020, things would really change in a way that I needed to be prepared for? I spent the last 6 years trying to contemplate what would happen in 2019 and if what happened in 2019 would match up to what I received in that journey. One of the things we received over and over and over again were about the fires of 2019. In my mind, getting that breadcrumb into the future, I imagined total devastation of fires throughout the entire earth. Little did I know the fires that we were being warned of were what happened in the Amazon, were what happened in Australia, were the spark that set things into motion to where we are now. Are they all related? Is what's happening now with coronavirus completely random? Is this part of something that came through in a channeling almost 6 years ago? Is this something that is a bioweapon of the government? Is this part of UN Agenda 21 population control, Sustainable Development 2030? Is this the byproduct of being in a biblical time where there are literally plagues of locusts affecting Africa? The world is literally on fire. We are living through what at times feels something like right out of Sodom and Gomorrah. We're seeing an influx in spirituality becoming popular and in mainstream culture. Mushrooms and ayahuasca are now being recognized in the mainstream as effective therapeutic healing modalities. The new age is here now. And as this is all coming to a head and coming into mainstream culture and is no longer occulted knowledge and wisdom, a great divide is manifesting through it. I don't think we're seeing the spiritual revolution that many of us thought would occur from this entering into the collective consciousness in a greater way. What we have been seeing is a greater emphasis on self. How can I wear this new identity that I've found without embodying it? I haven't released a podcast in almost 3 months because after I got home from my trip to Costa Rica, which I discussed in episode 11 about sympathy for the devil, shit got really weird. When I was in Costa Rica, my laptop, the laptop that I'm using now, began to glitch out. My speaker decided to stop working. The lights on my computer began to flicker. For no logical reason, this computer that was only 2 years old started to freak out on me. And then I suggest listening to episode 11 to hear what had happened during my very, very humbling ceremony. But I came home and my back up laptop then broke completely inexplicably. It was completely fine. And then the screen shattered. It wasn't dropped. It was next to me in my bed. I have no idea what could have caused it, but I went from my one new computer working without explanation to my backup laptop shattering. Then I was sick for about a month straight. All of December, I was completely bedridden to the point that I began to question if I brought home a hitchhiker from my ayahuasca ceremony, if I truly had some negative entity attached to me. And I have never felt so uncertain. I spent New Year's 2019 into 2020 in a bath with holy water, praying to be healed, praying to no longer be sick, praying for clarity, praying. I've never prayed so much in my entire life. One of the things that I was told often during my time channeling was the power of prayer. In particular, the power of what came through first in Aramaic, Teete, our Lord's Prayer. That was one of the first things I channeled. I was channeling in Aramaic the importance of our Lord's Prayer. And again, I offer this and I ask you to please take everything I'm sharing with a grain of salt, because I still am uncertain of what it all means and why, but there's something powerful to words that have been charged with hundreds of years of emotion. And that prayer has been a godsend, quite literally. After New Year's, things started to shift. January, things started to get better. Without any explanation, my speaker on the laptop that I'm using now just started to work again. A lot of synchronicity. Back in October, I had an idea of wanting to pack up all my things, put them in storage, spend a few months just going inward and working on myself, and then maybe moving to LA. I was then kind of forced into that situation because the landlord of the place that I was living in decided he wanted to raise the rent. And this happened after my very expensive bike was stolen. And I took that as a sign that it was my time to get out of there, to pay an exorbitant amount of rent in a place where my things are being stolen and I no longer feel safe. I felt like it was time to move. So I packed up my things with my best friend, put everything into storage, and moved to my mom's to take the next few months, namely until May, to become a better version of myself, to do all the things that I had been putting off, to write all the things that I had been putting off, to finish my next book, to just center and calm after surfing through lots of chaos. I feel very blessed because within weeks of moving here, now here we are with the novel coronavirus, literally being forced by the pandemic to quarantine, to isolate, to go inward, to social distance, to look at this time as a time where we are forced into isolation to collectively heal. What does that mean? What does that look like? Does this relate to the prophecy? How long we will be here? Was I actually channeling something about a future glimpse? Was that just an apparition that came through a time where maybe I had been a little too ungrounded and opening up way too many channels and sense doors? I don't know. I keep looking back to that channeling. I keep looking back to that time. I keep rereading the words that I said to you just now and shared publicly for the first time, because I find hope in those words. I find hope in believing that there is a divine architect, that there is a secret order in the chaos, that everything happens for the greater good eventually, that even out of uncertainty, something new will emerge. One thing this time has actually shown us is how unsustainable everything has become, how much damage the human species has done to planet Earth, how much damage we continue to do to her, how much damage begins to slow down pretty fast as we've slowed down. Satellite images showing how quickly the pollution and carbon emissions are being reduced from factories being shut down in Italy and China, showing the canals in Venice starting to clear, fish being visible, dolphins being visible, swans swimming. We're only a few weeks in, and the earth feels as though she's starting to breathe again. What could that mean if we're a few months in? What could that mean if we're a year in? What does that mean? It's pretty scary to consider a future when we don't know what's on the other side of this. This is a time now where whatever it is that maybe you had been putting off and making excuses for, that book you wanted to write, that song you wanted to create, that painting you wanted to paint, now is the time to do it. We don't know what the final death toll will be. We don't know what's on the other side of this door. What we do know is that we're united in uncertainty, and this is the time to reflect. So what are your reflections showing you? What are your reflections telling you? Are you feeling fear? Are you feeding fear? Are you afraid? It's okay. I am too. But I'm strangely at ease because whatever happens next is something that I don't think any of us can predict. I don't know if there can be a prophecy. Even back in 2014, whoever I was working with and speaking to said that was all they were allowed to reveal. We have free will. As many people want to debate that we don't have free will, I teeter on the end that we do, but we're limited within a structure of a game that even with our free will, we make choice A when we were supposed to make choice B. We will go back and be put in another situation where we have to choose choice B, or else we just keep repeating itself. That was another one of the things that came through during that time in 2014 with the languaging about the metaphor of our record, the human record, how we spin and go through cycles and cycles, and we repeat ourselves and repeat ourselves and repeat ourselves until we find the perfect pitch, until we find harmony, until we find resonance, and then we move on. We're such a blip in the grand scheme of things. The human experience, human beings, recorded history is such a blip in the grand scheme of things. But a consistent, no matter what age or eon or epoch we have surfed through, the human condition has been plagued by violence, by lack of empathy, by the ugly side of the animal nature that causes us to compete and harm. Human beings cause harm. We cause harm to each other, we cause harm to ourselves, and we cause harm to the planet. Darren Aronofsky's version of Noah was produced with mixed reviews, but the opening scene is very powerful. You see original sin and Adam and Eve as beings of light in the Garden of Eden, and then you see what happens after the apple was eaten from the tree of knowledge and the cycles of time of violence of humanity. There's a scene where you see the caveman hitting man with a rock all the way to man killing with a gun. We need to exercise violence, greed, lack of compassion. That needs to be exercised from the soul of humanity. What's gotten us here now is that there's been a lot of beauty that Corona has shown us. People singing from their apartment windows in Italy, people helping one another, people offering kindness and compassion and support. What we're seeing happen in our unified uncertainty is a lot of beauty, but we're also seeing the ugliness. Hoarding toilet paper, hoarding food, hoarding resources, hoarding hand sanitizer, hoarding. Me. I have to protect myself. I have to hoard. I have to make sure that I'm okay. A man bought 17,000 bottles of hand sanitizer, thinking of profit over people. That's what got us here. Profit over people. The earth is collateral damage. That way of thinking is not sustainable. That consciousness is not sustainable. That cannot go on. That's one thing I think that I hope all of us walk away from this feeling and understanding, is that collective greed shouldn't outweigh the collective need. We need to have a more sustainable way of living, a regenerative society. Otherwise, we're just going to burn the earth to the ground, and something so beautiful, this bed for souls to awaken, this unique sphere of life floating in a cosmic sea, will be decimated by the actions of the human condition. I'm not saying these things to scare you. I'm not saying these things to sound like a conspiracy theorist. I'm not saying these things to sound like I am Bashar or I am Abraham Hicks, because that is part of why I never wanted to release these channelings to the public. That is part of why they have remained in secret for the last 6 years and only been shared amongst friends and close colleagues. But I don't care. What I care about is the core message of the things that I was told. And what I care about is sharing that whatever apparition or mirage came through shared a warning. And it wasn't a warning to scare, but it was a warning to remember that love and light in times of darkness and hate are the only thing that will help get us through. There's a reason why light is celebrated in Judaism, why Hanukkah is a sacred holiday. There is a reason why the heart is sacred in Christianity. There is a reason why Tara, the mother of compassion, the mother of all Buddhas, is revered and worshipped in Buddhism. There is a reason why when you hear a song by the Beatles, you can be reduced to tears, because you can feel the love and the sonic vibration of what was created. But there's also a reason why you feel empty. You feel stuck in a rat race where everything tastes good but nothing satisfies. There's a reason why there's an inherent void that's existing within all of us, because the illusion that we've been sold is a lie. We're not here to just consume, obey. We're not here to participate in a rat race. 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 5, weekends off, drink, celebrate sports. 9 to 5, 9 to 5. Now here we are, 55. My life is gone. I have my 401k plan, and I have maybe 20 years to enjoy the rest of my life. And what does that look like? Do I have a pension? Do I have Social Security? Do I now get taxed on the thing that I spent my entire life working so hard to earn? Alternately, as a woman, it's been so hard to break through the illusion of get married, have kids, have a house, have security, white picket fence, wrap it in a pretty bow, curate my social media to show everybody just how happy me and my husband are. Bullshit. There's something missing, and we all feel it, and it's not going to be solved by the thing we buy or the person that we think is meant to complete us or the job that we have to excel through to get these accolades that actually ultimately are meaningless. We're suffering from a lack, and the lack is in a feeling of love, a feeling of love of self, a feeling of safety and comfort, a feeling connection to the earth, a feeling connection to community, a feeling connected to friends. We're not alone in our loneliness. We all feel it. But we can unite in this not aloneness and get through it. How can we get through it? By communicating, by collaborating, by talking to one another, by looking at this time as the chrysalis, where the caterpillar goes into this murky, inexplicable darkness to dissolve everything that it was in order to be rearranged and emerged as something new, something so different, something that is completely unrecognizable to the form that it once was, but it finds its wings. That's where we're at. We're in a collective chrysalis of uncertainty. Nobody knows what goes on in the chrysalis, not even scientists. Dissolve into nothing to emerge into something so beautiful. That's where we are. I really believe we're here to find that, to recognize that, to transform. True evolution comes in collaboration, and true evolution comes in understanding that we each are connected. Every action has a reaction. Every creation has a ripple. From womb to tomb, we are inextricably linked. In the book Cloud Atlas, which was made into a film with Tom Hanks, of all people, one of the first celebrities diagnosed with coronavirus, there is a scene. It's called The Revelation of Sodini 451. And I'll leave this passage with this passage as a reminder of how to reflect to get through this time, remembering how connected we all are. The Revelation of Sodini 451. To be is to be perceived, and so to know thyself is only possible through the eyes of the other. The nature of our immortal lives is in the consequences of our words and deeds that go on and are pushing themselves throughout all time. Our lives are not our own. From womb to tomb, we are bound to others, past and present, and by each crime and every kindness, we birth our future. David Mitchell. I'll be spending this time editing my backlog of Radio Menti podcasts, sharing more solo casts, sharing more of the intimate revelations of what I experienced in the time that I was channeling, and doing so without fear. Doing so to broadcast a ripple into the collective that hopefully ripples something through you, that you ripple forward to others. Awakening on a massive scale. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being